They say history is written by the victors, but what if the truth was buried with the fallen? Every secret leaves a trace, if you know where to look. This is The Broken Truth, decoding history, one broadcast at a time. The Broken Truth Podcast, where history meets conspiracy. Every case tells a story. Every story hides a lie. Welcome back to the Broken Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Garrett, and tonight joining us is the guys over at Conspiracy Chaos for an episode of Audience Confession Night, Part 2. We're going to jump into some deep topics tonight, and I'm happy that these guys are joining us. Gentlemen, welcome to the Broken Truth.
How's it going?
Thanks for having us, man.
Of course. I'm excited for this. I love when we get to collaborate with our creators. It really gives some context to this. So we got a couple submissions from a bunch of audience members. Have you guys had any submissions on your end?
No, we haven't dove too much into the audience side of things. We really primarily focused on the guest and working that angle so far.
Awesome. Well, the first topic we'll jump into tonight, the Jerusalem Post had a section that was covering Donald Trump officials swapping houses for military bases out in Israel. Interesting topic with everything that's going on with the Israeli conflict. What do you guys think about all this?
Mike will probably want to touch up on this one. Mike loves Trump.
Oh, yeah, Trump's my favorite. They're all my favorite. What can I say? They bring a lot of entertainment. I would say that's probably factually true. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, didn't we just give somebody a military base in the United States that are like known terrorists?
Yeah,
I didn't even hear about this.
Utah or something? Yeah,
in Utah. It was the ones from Dubai, the oil. God, what are they?
The sheiks.
Yeah, the sheiks. Yeah, they have it's crazy, man. Mike's not wrong there.
I'm gonna get the exact name. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah,
this whole Israeli conflict as a whole is nuts. It seems like, I mean, without getting too controversial, I mean, I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people, but it seems like Israel, since the dawn of time, has had their hand in almost everything and their finger wrapped around America financially, like on an immense level. And I wonder, well, what's all up with that?
They pretty much, I mean, now if you see any of our politicians standing up and talking, there's always an Israeli flag behind them. I mean, to this point, it looks like they're calling the shots. In all honesty, from my point of view, it looks like they're the ones calling the shots. And like you said, they're involved in everything. You could go back to 9/11 and you could allegedly say they have ties to even that. You know, there's so much that it goes back to. Epstein.
Oh yeah.
There's so much they're involved. Everything. They're involved in everything.
Of Israel.
Yeah, they're involved in everything.
No, it almost seems deeper than that. It's kind of crazy. The Jewish religion as a whole, very traditional foundation. Honestly, just like any other religion, has a beautiful foundation, and then you have the evil that really jumps in and for lack of a better word, fucks everything up. And recently, I've heard a couple people talk about even the Israeli flag and how the Star of David almost represents something more sinister than sacred, with it being almost like a satanic star. And a lot of the Jewish people think that rather than a star, it should be a menorah because it's pointing to sinister acts rather than something sacred.
Huh. I could see that.
I could totally go. I could definitely go with that. Yeah, I mean, Israel. Like, look at all the politicians it has all over the world, right? That has Israeli connections. Like, there's not just politicians in the United States that are Israeli, or from Israel. There's many all over the world, and I mean, it's a slow invasion that's happened for years and years and decades. And I mean, everything you look at and everything you see, there's some way a connection to Israel. Like, I think they just bought like the rights to ChatGPT. I think
they did.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So I mean, and just think of it and look at everybody who's involved with Israel. Every president has to kiss the wall. Celebrity. You see like Messi, the soccer legend, do it. You see actresses and actors. I mean, There's a reason. It's unfortunately it is satanic. Like you said, it had a beautiful foundation. It probably started righteous, but I mean, look at how much evil is in this world. I mean, it's easier to be negative than it is to be positive, right? So you follow people who speak loud, and I mean, look at Trump. He's one of the loudest presidents the United States has ever had, and everybody's following along. You know, and it's just all part of one big plan Israel has to essentially have total control.
Oh yeah, no, it's really interesting that we have all these shadow players, the deep state, the Illuminati, the cabal, whatever the hell you want to refer to them as, and they have their hand in everything. And just like you said, something that has a beautiful foundation always gets messed up by the powers that be.
Always.
And it's unfortunate that we're kind of in this realm, and then us here in America, we're just fucking dumping money to this as if it's nothing, even though in all reality, what play do we have in this? Like, why? What's the point here? We've always given money to them and supported them financially for what? Like, it doesn't make sense.
And some of the money.
I don't think it's.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, Mike. Well, I was going to say, some of the money we find out where we're spending it is crazy. It's to the point where, like, when Doge came in and we were given $300 million to Africa to teach trans elephants or something. You know what I mean? Like some of the crazy shit they were spending.
The money we spend, oh God, it's disgusting. Yeah, I don't know why we're in it. Why do we have a hand in it? It's a good question. We've been in it for years. I don't know, like Mike said. They go over there. They put.
What if it's not
Yeah. What, Mike?
Exactly. And what's to say? What's to say it's not? We're not supporting them. What if it's a payment, right? Like, what if Israel or people who run or the head will say, mafia guys? Remember back in the day in their neighborhood block, they would go to businesses and charge them protection, right? So what if it's payments that we owe them because they are the boss and they just
I mean that's true.
Throw out these dumb things that are like, oh, well, we just spent $200 billion on what do you say, transgender giraffes? Like, do we really believe that? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a front. It's money laundering at its finest. I mean, look at Biden and all them through Ukraine. Look at how much money they funnel.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and you even look at something like the Catholics and in Rome and how corrupt all that is. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of tie in terms of like the greater plan of like what we would consider the concept of the New World Order, if we're kind of in the final stages of this taking effect. But yeah, it'll be interesting to kind of see what comes of all this for sure.
The Vatican's one of the most corrupt places in the world, man.
Oh, absolutely. And it has been since the dawn of time. But I mean, shit, same goes for Israel and the whole Middle East in terms of all the...
Didn't the Rothschilds help fund
the Vatican?
For some reason?
Well, the Vatican heard that. Yeah. True. And they became a powerhouse, I think I heard the same. And then they funded and made Israel.
Did you guys ever hear about
Knights, right? Didn't they travel from the Vatican to Israel?
Well, did you guys ever hear about the how there's three popes? The regular pope we see, the white pope, the gray pope, and the black pope. And the gray pope's the one who actually runs, like, is the one calling the shots behind the scenes.
Interesting.
Yep. And it gets mentioned every once in a while. I was listening to something the other day and the gray pope came up again. But yeah, that's usually the one that runs everything. And I always say too, if we know their name or know who they are, they're not really calling the shots. It's people up above them that are truly calling the shots. There's a couple.
Kind of how many of us here in America have thought the same thing with the president being the puppet.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's an actor, man. They're all actors.
Yeah, it's interesting you mention with the Rothschilds and everything. I just finished an episode with JT Follows JC. We were talking about the Genesis 6 conspiracy. And he was mentioning that the bloodlines following in from the dawn of time, right? And you have this lineage that's tracked. You have the Seth lineage, the Cain lineage, and everything. And the shadow players, at least, whether they actually do carry this lineage or think that they do, that's all the power that they need. They think they're protecting something, right? But the Rothschilds and those massive powers allegedly have direct lineage, and they are the bloodline. And same thing with all the presidents of the United States. They supposedly have a direct lineage that's tied. And what a lot of people here in America don't understand is the presidents are essentially appointed. We're not actually electing them. They're the chosen powers to be. And it's interesting. We're kind of led like cattle.
Yeah, we're sheep. Absolutely.
And they follow. They all.
And we walk just like them too. Get in line, and go stand head down. Yeah.
Trump is the only one that's not part of that bloodline. He's the one who broke that bloodline, right? I mean, he's still a Jesuit, but he's the one who broke the bloodline, I believe.
You know, I'm not sure. I have my questions about Trump. I mean, I do think he's done some great things. After his first candidacy, it seems like he was almost taken off guard. He got a lot more pushback than I think he expected. I think he was planning on being able to do a lot more, accomplish a lot more than he was able to. And then coming into this next campaign run, you have his whole assassination attempt, which who knows what the hell really happened there? Was it a candidacy ploy just to kind of bring some attention if he was down in numbers at all? But I'm not sure if he does direct tie or not. But just like anyone, I think there's a hand so far up his ass that he's just a puppet like the rest of them.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I don't
think that is Trump.
You think it's a fake Trump? Like they were faking Biden's?
Yep. And think about it, right? Like when Trump first started, you could totally see that he was fighting the deep state. He was going after the WHO. He was doing the tariffs. He was doing all these things. And at first he was telling Israel, like, you better stop doing this or we're coming, right? Like he was doing all these things. And then all of a sudden overnight he flipped.
He's bound to him.
Now we're doing this, we're doing that. The big, beautiful bill is terrible. It's got good things in it, but for the overall future, it is terrible. I mean, he brought in, was that Planeteer, right? Planeteer is ran by Mossad, Israeli fucking guru, right? So he's embedded all into everything that we see, hold, touch, So, I mean, who knows? I mean, there's so much out there. I mean, it could be him and he just became stupid and had to follow along. But usually if you don't, they kill you and replace you. Plain and simple. The CIA has mass programs where you could easily put someone else
in. Yeah, they had that one lady go in with the mask
AI voice.
Office, and the dude who worked with her every day didn't even know it until she pulled the mask off. CIA out.
And George Bush didn't even know. And George Bush didn't even know. She walked in George Bush's office. Yep. And walked in there and he had no idea.
So, Garrett, let me ask you a quick question.
That's mine.
Have you ever heard of the Paysar family?
No.
Paysar is a good one to get into. That's one that this family owned all the railroads. So they bought all the railroads and started the railroad industry back in the early 1800s. Daniel Paysar was the first one to come over. They're affiliated to with the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and such. I think they're one of the higher families that kind of call the shots over those guys that we don't hear much about. And Daniel Paysar, there was something where like a child was swapped and this and that. There was
King Henry. It was like King Henry. It was like King Henry, the 8th or something, and his brother. Yeah. He had like a bastard child, and like they sent somebody. Basically, they sent the
similar to what the Rothschilds did, of how they sent like a bunch of family.
They're all over here, and they ran the railroads, the railroad system all throughout. And the money that they have supposedly is just
so basically
stupid.
What they did every time they had to put the railroad down, they had to buy the land. So over time they owned the land, but then over time they sold the land, and they made all their money off of selling the land that the railroads were on and all that. So they became extremely powerful.
The problem
they were from England.
You can't find
much
French.
You can't find much about them. French, okay, French, yep. Yeah,
but you cannot find much. Their bloodline is not open.
Mm-hmm. So you bring up the concept of railroads, and recently I came across not very recently, but William Cooper talks about it in his book Behold a Pale Horse, that all of the railroads and major highway systems are all very close to the large federal penitentiaries. And he mentions this because it's strikingly similar to that of the Holocaust, in terms of the railways being close to the concentration camps. And as it's said in the concept of the New World Order, when it does take effect, or at least allegedly, that's what they say, when this happens, the United States is going to declare a state of emergency. And when this happens, FEMA takes control. The president is no longer the president. They have a whole underground government, and then that power takes control, right? But we as citizens have to go to the post office and register with the census. And then once we go to the post office, they essentially tell you where you're going. The men are probably going to go to labor camps, as was in the Holocaust. And then the women are going to get sent to wherever they get sent to. So it's interesting that, as you mentioned with the Pesar family, that these railways were kind of, from a foundational level, established before we were even a thing. So you think like this is all planned.
Yeah.
100%.
Possibly. I mean, it makes sense.
It takes a while.
It makes sense because they're so far ahead of us. Like the whole pandemic was planned years ago. You know what I mean? They practiced it and all that. So like, I think they run a scheme of literally just, and it's been the same team running it for, hundreds and hundreds of years at this point. But like, they have a playbook and they stick to their playbook, and it's a long game for them. They're in a marathon. It's not a sprint. That's how it's generational power that these people have. So there's no rush to take it over. They're piece by piece putting this thing together to really enforce this new world order. And I'm starting to believe that they're getting to the point where they want to put it into full effect. I mean, Mike's the biggest fan I know of Agenda 2030, and I mean, you're starting to see more and more of it, though. Like, I'm going to the stores today, and now we're discontinuing pennies. Next, it's going to be change in general. So they're slowly starting to pull, money off the table on us.
And they ran that test during COVID. Yeah. If you went to grocery stores, they're like, we don't really got change, right? Sorry, bring exact change or use your card. They really wanted you to use your card.
And it's wild that historically, America being the free country it is, that cash is really the only freedom we have left. They're censoring our speech in terms of social media, it on a federal level in terms of all this movement toward, again, another touchy subject, and not to hurt anyone's feelings, but the gay rights movements, the trans rights movements, the he, she, me, wumbo stuff. And it's crazy.
It's all agenda.
Hate crimes. This is America. We got rid of all the historical figures. The football teams can't have their names. The statues can't be a thing. Like, we're just rewriting the textbooks over and over again.
Bingo.
And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse too. Like, it is happening in the UK. It does happen in China, to where, like, eventually soon, because I know they put in a bill in place for anti-Semitism, but we can literally start seeing cops coming to our doors because of a tweet or a post and it literally, people in the UK are getting arrested.
No, I've seen it.
Like, someone complained about a tweet you posted. We're going to have to take you to jail. That is another step towards Agenda 2030.
Yeah, but England, they don't have the First Amendment like we do.
If you don't get that.
I don't see. I push back on it.
They don't have the Second Amendment either.
Right. They don't have the First Amendment. They don't have the Second Amendment. It's. I mean, they could try, but it ain't gonna have. Like, there's gonna be so much pushback, especially after COVID.
Why are they protesting in the streets in other countries over digital ID if it's not serious? Like,
it's happening in those countries, but I think the US. I don't know. I don't think it's
we're gonna have nobody's even moving. They're like, hey, everybody, you should buy a UV car. And look what happened. Like, UV cars exploded, right? So if you do a digital ID.
Because nobody's life.
Eventually, they're going to take out engines.
Know why nobody's done anything, Mike? Because no one's been affected yet. That's why. Once people start to get affected, like with the whole SNAP thing slowing down, if people didn't get money sooner than later, man, they were going to start stealing and doing what they had to do to get by. There's no other option for some people out there.
Oh, we're getting affected.
Yeah.
We're getting affected, like COVID. That's a part of going towards Agenda 2030. Because when you do a digital ID, how about the gold stars on everybody's license? You can't have that. If you don't have that, you can't fly, right? Like that's going towards Agenda 2030. What did everybody do? Well, I got to fly, so let me go get the gold star. Now I'm cool. Let's go, right? Like um, when the digital ID will come in, it won't be that bad. You're like, oh man, this is cool. It's, it's efficient. It's this and that. That's what they want, right? Like MK Ultra, they're brainwashing you to thinking something's good before when you see the totality of it, it's a complete negative, but it's already too late because
It's
you get the
portrayed
digital
as like a
ID, your
convenience.
wife gets the digital ID, so you can go to Disney. Exactly, it's portrayed. But say you miss a day of work, right? Your phone tells you you miss a day of work, you're being deducted this. Or you go to the store, you've had steak twice a week already, you go to get steak again and tell you no. Like,
Yeah.
and that's how they go. And they just do that little by little until eventually it's too late because you've already made the process of accepting it during COVID by staying in your house, wearing a stupid spit through mask or a freaking guard over your face while you're riding in your car by yourself, dumb shit like that. Like that is submitting yourself to propaganda. MK
Absolutely.
Ultra, people believe it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
So
did you see Mabdami over there in New York?
Scary.
He wants to do this. He wants to do the. I mean, it's kind of almost similar to that with the government-run supermarkets distributing food. I mean, are they gonna? Is it going to come to a point where they say you could only have like you said, Mike, you already had your 2 steaks this week. You can't have any more, or you only get two dozen eggs. That's it for the week. No more for you. Like, is it gonna? It is kind of a scary
You
thought if they
didn't
control.
pray. Yeah. Or he goes, you didn't pray 3 times a day. You can't come in and get food. You know what I'm saying? Like he's already trying to get cigarettes, liquor, lottery tickets, anything that's a sin to Sharia law out of stores. He wants women after dark to dress, to not go outside and dress appropriately
Mabdami, he's
when
nuts.
out.
He's got some crazy
Yeah,
ideas. Yeah,
it's
that
crazy.
guy's fucking crazy.
We'll go to Harlem and try to tell a female how to dress on a Friday night. Good luck.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's interesting here in America, right? We almost have this false sense of freedom. We have historically been known as the laziest and most easily influenced society. We have this
And the most
overspending
obese.
culture. The most what?
Most obese.
Obese. Yeah, no, absolutely.
The fattest.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting. We touched the concept of the Second Amendment, and we hit this idea that we've almost been in this state of a civil war for 15, 20 years now. Probably more on like the 10 to 15 year realm, especially as gay rights and everything got approved. That's when everyone kind of in the microcultures got put on their pedestal, and then rather than coming together as a society, we've now been torn apart. Which ultimately, that's the idea here. We have two concepts of power. We have influence and fear. That's the way the power takes control. And in order to kind of keep this in effect, be together. Unity is not a thing. So they need these micro groups to be put on their pedestal. Everyone's in fucking turmoil over immigration, over rights, over everything. And we have all this looting going on. We have all these riots going on, all this violence. And at the end of the day, we come back to the Second Amendment, and it's like, is America really strong enough as a civilian population? Are we in unity that we're ready to push against this, or are we just falling in line?
I mean, probably just falling in line, to be honest with you. Like it's 80% at least is going to just fall in line.
And I'd agree with that.
Easily.
And that's kind of why I say we have this false sense of freedom. And the Second Amendment, does it really at the end of the day? Because like, if you in your local community, at least from a direct response to a threat, right, and that threat being the government or these powers that are wreaking havoc on our society, if you don't have your own network that are Second Amendment bearers and are ready to take direct action on this, you as an individual, you're fucked. You don't have the power in and of yourself to take that control. The power's in numbers. And that's what we as society, as a world, really need to understand, is that we need to come together regardless of what you believe. We can agree to disagree on the minor shit at the end of the day. What's more important is society and human race, right? So at some point, we really need to wake up and kind of make a change. So I'm curious to
Push
see
back a little.
what's gonna happen.
The-
Yeah.
I honestly, I hate to say it, but like we are
There's gotta be
closer
some
to a
type of
civil
pushback here.
war rather than a revolution.
Oh,
I
100%.
tell the boys all the time, there's no more. I tell the boys all the time, there's no more love thy neighbor. There's no more of that. You know, half 90% of people don't even talk to their neighbors anymore. You know, head down, walk here, walk there, go to work, come home. But then you want to argue about red and blue, right? When at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. Um,
Exactly what he just did. Picked up his fucking phone.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I would love to see us all come together and push back on this, but I think the damage is already done. I mean, it's in the kids, it's in the generations, the poison. Um, I think that if it does happen, I hope it's not too late, but it's going to be close to being too. America's about to have their 250th birthday, and I think didn't they say like empires fall around 250 years? Is this America's time? Is this the reset? Is this? I mean, it's going to be scary either way.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's coming.
It's crazy. And you even mentioned
It's
the concept of love thy neighbor, and like you said, it's gone. Half of us don't even know our neighbors. And back in the day, kids used to play in the neighborhood. Everyone knew each other. You'd look out for each other. And now that's few and far between. And you even walk into the grocery store and hold the door for someone. Hey, good morning. How are you today? And they look at you like, why the hell are you talking to me? Like, oh, sorry.
Like,
Yeah.
how many times do you see somebody that's broke down on the side of the road and we or somebody else just drives by?
Yeah.
You
Or
know what I
God
mean?
forbid
Like,
you do pull
that's-
over and they pull a gun on you. Why the hell are you trying to help me?
Yeah,
Right.
yep. And that's the other sad
Mhm.
side of it because you really honestly don't know. And most people have kids, you know, that they have to go home to at the end of the day, and the risk isn't worth it. So, but um, you know, I tried like the other day. I was in the grocery store. You know, as holidays come around, I bought my lunch for work, and then it was like $22. I gave her a 40, and I told her to split it between people behind me, and I just walked out the front door. You know, you always got to try to do something good. Because hopefully, it like wakes up the right person. You know, that maybe wasn't like that, and they start becoming that way because that's the only way it's going to happen. You got to break. You got to break. I guess layman's terms, the spell that's held over people, the negative energy,
Yeah, the cycle.
the bad vibes that people have constantly being in bad moods. You know, it's easy to get caught in it. It's easy to be negative. You know,
Absolutely. You
so it's
guys
scary,
were
man. I
mentioning
don't know.
the
I
government
hope we all come
control.
together.
No, for sure. You guys were mentioning the government control over our food supply, and you go to the store and you buy 2 steaks and get limited at that. And that actually leads me into the next topic that was submitted: the theory behind the alpha gal syndrome and Bill Gates' control over the food industry. We saw during COVID that. He bought up all this farmland along with China, and he's been funding all this genetic research on genetically modified food and all this stuff. The concept of the alpha gal syndrome, for people who don't know, we have the Lone Star tick that has this disease that when it bites you, you're now allergic to red meat, and it portrays itself differently in many people. When you eat red meat, it's not like you go into anaphylactic shock for everyone. For some people, it's that urgent. For others, it takes effect later. So you may eat it, and in the middle of the night, you wake up and you're just super sick, and you're like, it must have been bad meat, and you don't think anything of it. And you may go years like this and not really know until you're diagnosed. And even in the medical industry, it's kind of a new thing. It's been around for years, this issue, but it's lesser diagnosed, I guess, less common for people to really know that they have it just because of how it takes effect in different people. But that absolutely leads into the whole concept of people being limited to what they're buying, what they're eating, and the control of the government and the shadow powers that play over our food. What a crazy concept that Bill Gates, well, who knows if he's the person behind this, but someone is behind this, right?
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is. He was behind COVID. Like, you know, he's the one of the main guys for COVID. And if you remember, when people took the COVID shots, the vaccine shots, or or I'm sorry, when they got COVID, some people lost taste. Like people couldn't taste their food, right? So now you got this tick coming out And they say that it's false. Bill Gates has nothing to do with it, but he has mosquitoes that he's openly admitted to that are out of South America, I think. He's released them. He's got this 275,000 acres he's bought in the United States. Some of those lab grown meats are where old chicken farms used to be. And you'll see chicken farms that burned down. The only reason why I know that is because I worked for Buffalo Wild Wings for quite a while, and we got our chicken from some of those factories that burned. He been in the food business a long time. I could go for hours on food. The vaccines they're putting in lettuce, the bioengineered ingredients they have in everything, microplastics, metals. It's crazy. Aluminum.
No, it's truly terrifying.
I'm just reading up on this.
Out of Walmart.
I'm reading up on this alpha gal syndrome, dude. It sounds brutal, man. It doesn't sound fun.
Insane.
Yeah, when a person later eats meat from
I didn't know it was called that. I just knew about the Lone Star tick.
Yeah, no, they gave it a name.
There is a video. There's a video on YouTube by Buddy Brown. Talks about how Bill Gates is creating ticks to give us a meat allergy.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on it, and it's almost seems hidden, like it's being silenced. And I mean, we all know why that is, but it's interesting you mentioned the mosquito thing. So I'm here in Vegas. No fucking reason for mosquitoes here. There's no water. There's no nothing. It's a dry desert. We have had a major mosquito problem for like the past few years, and it makes absolutely no sense. And mosquitoes are like, there's no pest control for them. You can't spray for them. You don't really know where they're coming from, and it's hard to stop them. And no one really knows why. Supposedly they're trying to come out with this. I have no clue how they're going to do it, but some sort of pest control for it, whether they drop shit in the air and poison us like they do with everything else. But I'm curious, like you mentioned, Bill Gates is dropping this shit on Mexico. What's up with that? Like this is stuff that probably hasn't even made national news, but locally it's destroying us.
I mean, what a way to spread disease through mosquitoes, right?
They won't
release the swarm.
Make national.
Yeah. I didn't hear about that.
They sprayed down here.
Mosquitoes are also.
I got it.
Was that?
I'm delayed.
Raj?
But his mosquitoes are coded. They had the barcodes in them. They had the
I saw.
Had the barcodes in them.
True. Was
his
that true though?
Mosquitoes had the barcodes on the back of them.
No way.
I mean, I believe it at this point.
If it's coming from a lab,
there's a tag on it.
Go ahead, Mike.
Look up Vector Cam Innovation for mosquito surveillance lauded by Bill Gates. There's other. They say to combat malaria, they have genetically modified mosquitoes. I think they released
combat malaria.
Vector what?
Vector Cam, I believe. Vector Cam Innovation.
Doesn't Vegas also get a lot of those crosswinds? Is there any possible way that like the mosquitoes just got in a crosswind and they just made their way over to Vegas somehow? I'm always like thinking the other side to push back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing devil's advocate with it, I mean, sure, there's probably some way they could have got here, but the question is, how are they remaining?
Yeah,
because mosquitoes breed in standing water. Really, the only standing water we have here is pools. Pools all have filter systems, so they're not really standing at the end of the day. We don't get rains. It's not like
they can't live in coordinated pools either.
No, they can't live in pools. Yeah, no.
As a resident of Florida, I will tell you that we've had an uptick in mosquitoes recently over the years. We normally have them all the time. They spray by ground and air by using helicopters, and it doesn't do anything. I'll tell you that right now. Whatever they're spraying in the air isn't killing mosquitoes. If anything, it pisses them off. That's just from the experience of a Floridian.
Yeah, it's for something else. I mean, we even look at all the other shit they drop in the sky, cloud seeding and the weather control that the theory holds. And gosh, what a crazy time,
Anthony,
we're in.
Yo.
Oh yeah, crazy. So here, well, let's get crazier. Ready to type this in?
Yeah.
US. Type it in. US 8967029B1.
Toxic mosquito.
That's a patent.
Toxic mosquito aerial release system. Beautiful. A device for the aerial release of mosquitoes, including an unmanned aerial vehicle operable by remote control. It carries a container holding a central processing unit and a mosquito breeding bin, which is self-contained vacuum housing mosquitoes and a mosquito food having a toxic suitable to be transmitted by a mosquito bite after the mosquito stop it. A release tube is connected to the mosquito breeding bin and sized to release mosquitoes from the mosquito breeding bin. A valve is connected to release the tube and operable by remote control so that when opened, the mosquitoes have an open pathway out of the container through the release tube. This is scary shit, dude.
I found a video on it. I'll put it up on the screen right now.
Wow.
So I'll toss this video up on the screen right now if I can figure out how to do it.
This is crazy, dude. Raj, were you there for the read with this mosquito, the patent for the mosquito releasing?
No, am I delayed really bad though?
No, you're fine.
No, you're good.
Not now, you're not.
Okay.
So here's this video. I don't think it has any audio, but it shows a really cool depiction of what you're talking about. I'll toss it up on the screen right now.
We engineered mosquitoes in California and Florida, billions of them. But now let's add this. Patent number US 8967029B1. What's the title of that patent? Toxic Mosquito Aerial Release System. That's interesting, isn't it? Or should I say incredibly alarming? Stay tuned for a shocking summary excerpt from the Toxic Mosquito Release Patent System. The billions of engineered mosquitoes about to be released in California and Florida. And while considering that, let's examine patent number US 8967029B1, Toxic Mosquito Aerial Release System. Here's an abstract from this patent. A device for the aerial release of mosquitoes includes an unmanned aerial vehicle operable by remote control. It carries a container holding a central processing unit and a mosquito breeding bin, which is a self-contained volume housing mosquitoes and a mosquito food having a toxin suitable to be transmitted by mosquito bite after the mosquito consumes the mosquito food. A release tube is connected to the mosquito breeding bin and sized to release mosquitoes from the mosquito breeding bin. A valve is connected to the release tube and is operated by remote control so that when opened, the mosquitoes have an open pathway out of the container through the release tube. Now let's go to this from this patent, the background. Stated right on the patent. Governments have sought after weapons that can be used to deliver chemicals, viral, bacteriological substances for lethal and non-lethal administration to assembled masses of people. Non-lethal uses typically include peacekeeping operations for use in actions not considered, quote, military operations and against terrorists or state actors in war. In this sense, such weapons can be used to control both armed enemies and civilians. Not all uses of such weapons, the patent states, are prohibited by treaty. The present invention is capable of delivering lethal and non-lethal toxins, including any agent that can be carried and administered by a mosquito.
Wow. Talk about answering my question as to how this is happening here in Vegas.
It's pretty scary.
Just think about it. And you can do toxins. You can do toxins. You can do vaccines. Because now they're doing aerial vaccines. Bill Gates talked about doing aerial vaccines, putting the vaccines in your food, lettuce, fruits, seedless fruits and vegetables. Don't eat that crap. But yeah, dude, that's scary stuff, man. Like you can literally
Did you see
do that?
There's the one phrase in there though that they said was you can't use it on the military or seat actors in war. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
There was one little line in there.
It said actors.
Actors.
Raj, you are a little delayed.
Actors.
You are now.
I've never seen it before, but state actors. Makes you wonder.
Jeez.
What makes you wonder what isn't all fucking fake,
Yeah,
Huge
no,
simulation.
that is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, man. That is crazy, and it makes you wonder what else they could do with all these bioweapons, man. I don't know what it makes. So, Mike, you were talking about them putting all the vaccines in our food and shit. It brings you back to the question: why do they care so much if we're vaccinated or not, or if we're vaccinated? Like, why?
They want to kill your. They want to kill your DNA. They want to change your DNA. They don't want any bloodlines.
Okay.
Yeah. They want to take away your identity. There's only pure bloodlines with the higher families, but Yeah, I mean, the whole mRNA, they just want to change your DNA. They want to erase history because your blood tells a story. Like that whole, what is that called? They call it ancestry DNA. Like that's a whole,
yeah, 23andMe and all that. Yep.
Yeah, that's all a scam. They want your blood. That's why I don't donate blood either. You can't have it. But yeah, they want to get rid of your blood, change your blood.
Crazy.
But it is crazy. And then population control. That's another thing. You see all these people. I mean, how many athletes were dying after the vaccine? Military males, and it wasn't. And then it did exactly its job, right? It took all the older people who had ailments and it wiped them. Right? They couldn't recover once they.
So what is your thoughts on that?
Having heart attacks.
I was just gonna say, what is your thoughts on? Do you think they were just bad? Do you think they were just bad, like bad doses of the vaccine, or do you think it was just already in that person's body? If they were gonna go, they were gonna go with the jab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, I don't think they were bad doses, because if you look at the first patent for COVID, I believe it was in 2000.
But you can't say that too, though, either, because
vaccine for 20 years.
Because you had professional athletes, soccer players, basketball players, etc., dropping too. So it wasn't just necessarily like people out of shape and over, with health ailments or over obesity or anything like that. It was happening to everybody. So it was.
But to kind of expand on that, just because someone seems that they're in tip-top shape doesn't mean that they have some sort of underlying genetic deformity or issue that could be directly affected by this vaccine. So the concept of it being a method of population control could absolutely be a thing. And they're trying to, again, back to the Holocaust concept, get a pure race and eliminate the people who are spreading these genetic mutations and dysfunction.
Yeah, try to literally mess up that bloodline. And that. Do you think they were using people? Garrett, you think that they were using 23andMe and all those other DNA things to try to see if they would try to find like the original Nephilim bloodline? You think that was?
I think that they know who the original Nephilim bloodline is. Honestly, we have the Book of Enoch, that's essentially a redacted chapter of the Bible. That the seven sacred sciences were passed down. They've been protected since the dawn of time. So I think the people who are directly connected to this are they know.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was the 23andMe and all this DNA testing is more to uncover society. I don't think it has anything to do with uncovering who the bloodline is, but it's more of like, who has these issues? Let's get a larger study group and a greater understanding of what's going on in our world and where our genetic deformities lie, so we can now cater these biological weapons to eliminate that.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that. That's another one.
Yeah, because as we mentioned, we're like a sheep society. So we take vaccines, and I have nothing against vaccines, right? For the most part, they've been shown to do good things, as long as they're used in a good manner, right? Just like anything else, there's good and evil. But we have all that is, in many cases, overpowering, and yeah, it's it's a damn shame.
Yeah, man.
It is a shame. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, I've never had the flu vaccine. I've never taken a flu shot, other than in school, right? When you're a kid, stuff you have to take. Like, how come is it when you get the MMR shot, you get the measles?
I don't ever remember getting a shot in school.
Yeah, I don't either.
We had to get one. We also had to do fluoride. I mean, I'm 43, but we used to have to swish fluoride before we did the Pledge of Allegiance for 30 seconds every morning.
Yeah, I never had to do that.
Wow.
And then spit it out.
Whoa, wow. The fluoride thing is an interesting concept. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because holy crap, the studies that are coming out on that, and I wonder why now, out of all times. The shit they're putting in our water. I mean, you have oh god, what's his name? Huge conspiracy theory guy.
Alex Jones.
Years ago, Alex Jones. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, he made the statement, the water turned the frogs gay, due to the study that was done in the reservoir. And holy crap, like how real is that? I mean, maybe not that specifically, but just the concept that like they're actually doing stuff to genetically modify us, and like you were saying, destroy our DNA.
And look at it though. Look how society in general, how much softer it is. Like how much more feminine overall it is as a society. Like, everybody's worried about feelings. 20 years ago, people weren't more concerned about someone else's feelings. Now everything's worried about how the next person's going to feel. Like, just the whole generational change.
Sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled podcast, but this episode is brought to you by the Broken Truth merch. Support the show. Wear the truth. Official Broken Truth podcast merch is live now. Links in the description. And since you've made it this far in the episode, comment hashtag Broken Truth and leave us a 5-star review on your favorite platform. Because when you speak up, the algorithm listens. And so does the world.
The wussification of America, I call it.
And that's a great way to put it. The underlying respect as a whole, how to treat someone is gone. Mm-hmm. And rather than, I don't even know if it kind of goes back to like if someone's broken down on the side of the road, right? We used to not worry about it. We pull over, fucking help them out, and that's it. But now everyone's so scared of everything. If you step wrong, someone's going to be canceled, right? Or you're going to get shot, or you're going to get whatever. And now, like you said, we're just a soft society. And I think we're all aware of this shit at the end of the day, but it's just our willingness to take action, to execute on these causes and come together, which I don't think it's ever going to happen, unfortunately. But I mean, that's why it's up to us as creators to kind of get this shit out there.
You know when it's going to happen?
We're all going to go to bed. Go ahead, Roger. Sorry.
It's going to happen when AI Atlas or 3i Atlas comes crashing down on us like Independence Day. That's when they're going to hit us with this, and then everybody's going to come together like the whole country did after 9/11. And everybody's going to be waving that one world, new world order flag all over the place, and that's where it starts.
The fear.
That's how they do it. Project Bluebeam. If this is a comet, alien ship, whatever the hell this thing is up there spinning around, pausing, changing directions, I guess it was the other day. So
it's interesting. NASA is really staying really quiet about it, and they're not putting out any recent pictures at all. These are all the pictures we're seeing. I think are all older pictures.
Japan's putting out a lot of photos.
Yeah.
So has it come from behind the sun yet? Do we have it in our visual field again? Okay.
Yeah, it lost its tail or something, I think.
Yeah. And they're saying
I wonder why.
But NASA did just come out and say that it's gotten brighter than the sun. But if that's true, how come we can't see?
Yeah.
True.
I just saw that. I think it was yesterday. Oh, okay, let me see.
And it's also interesting that around the same time that the government shut down here in America, this is when the whole 3i Atlas thing came out. So was this part of the grand plan to limit our access to this research? Is this honestly, like you were saying, related to something like Project Bluebeam and the final counts into once this does come into effect, this could be the grand plan.
Mm-hmm. Martial law, everybody's locked down. Here comes the guards. The streets are on lockdown. And then America, Trump, or whoever saves the world, like Will Smith in Independence Day with some stripper on his arm, and off he goes.
I mean, Hollywood's told history for forever.
That's what I'm saying.
And they have said that Trump's the last president.
And then J.D. Vance is going to be the drunk guy at the bar who takes the plane up, takes one for the team, and saves us all. That's how it's going.
And then we get into the
after he marries Erica. Marry Erica.
That's another crazy one.
Then we get into this whole plane crash that happened in Kentucky, and we're still shut down as a government, and this has now been the longest shutdown in the history of as we know it, right? And this plane crash was massive plane crash. For those of you who haven't seen it or aren't aware of it, just look up the Kentucky plane crash. It was a FedEx plane, UPS plane that crashed into a building that contained what was it? It was like petrol, oil, oil and tires. So extremely flammable substances. But what the hell was this plane holding? Was this plane holding secrets? Was something on that plane that shouldn't have gotten out to the public? And then was this directly related to the government shutdown or potentially the 3i Atlas thing?
I mean, how often do you just see an engine fall out of the bottom of a plane. That's literally what happened. It just doesn't happen. I mean,
No.
planes, you know.
And we had the weird things going on with the planes early on in the year when
we still have weird things going on.
But the crashes, you had the one crash with the helicopter crash in Maryland by the airport. Like there's been a lot of weird shit with planes this year. And
there's been way more plane crashes in the last year, 2 years than.
Yeah, it was crazy in the first 3-4 months of the year. Garrett, I don't know if you listened to Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli, but
yeah,
he always says that you don't. He travels a lot for being a comedian and such, but he almost feels like they don't want us to fly anymore. And it kind of comes back to like the 15-minute cities, where okay, let's just lock it down, make it so miserable for people to fly, or people get so scared to fly. Like, I remember the crash in Maryland. I was actually in Disney at the time and having to fly back to New York. And my mother was, like, terrified. And I'm like, we're fine. Like, let's go. We're going home. But, like, the fear, though, of seeing it all over the news, because she's sitting there watching the news in the hotel room, and that's all they're showing the whole time, over and over and over again. And they just, programming, they pound the fear into people.
And maybe that's something to do with 3i Atlas. They don't want us in the skies because something else is going on. And like you said, directly related to the 15-minute city is keep us out of travel. There's something greater going on in the skies. And playing devil's advocate a little bit here with that plane crash, maybe the lack of manpower due to the whole issue with federal payments and everything and in the aviation industry. Maybe the checks and balances system in flight was thrown off a little bit. Obviously, we know planes are checked very thoroughly before they take off. They have a whole flight check pattern before anything happens. So for a plane to catch fire while it's on the runway taking off is few and far between. But then that leads me into the idea that we have this whole thing going on that is just, there's really no answers to.
Right. Or is this one of those things where they do it like a magic trick? Look over here at this big plane crash while we're doing this over here. Because
the left hand doesn't know what the right's doing. Yeah,
the sleight of hand, and that's a lot of times that's what they do, is cause a distraction. They did it when they had stuff when Diddy's stuff was going on. They would make something happen, all that. They always find something to pop into the news to take a headline away.
I mean, there was 3 crew members and 3 casualties. 33.
33. Then you get
33 is the death toll.
No, there was 14 total.
Oh, 14.
14. It was only 3.
Yeah, but on the plane there was 3 on the plane.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Yeah, that's for the 3. Yeah, only 3. Most of them were on the ground. 11 on the ground, 3 on the plane. Working in that recycling place with the tires.
Obviously any loss of life is terrible, but the way that, if anybody's seen that video and only 14 people to perish in that situation, is it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. Obviously, you don't want to see anybody pass, but Jesus, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I had a listener that submitted. They want me to cover a Hitler documentary, so I'm in the process of doing that. Okay. They sent me a huge submission, and I think they wrote this themselves. I'll read it. It's going to take a minute because it's pretty long, but it gave me a really interesting perspective on everything. And I'm probably about a quarter of the way into this documentary. It's going to be a couple hours long. But holy shit, I didn't realize that Hitler's life, he was almost bred into what happened. And I had no clue because the history books don't teach you that, obviously. But from a very young age, he was just in constant turmoil. You had the area that he resided in, the propaganda that was being spewed, the wars that were occurring were from the time he was born. His parents died at a very young age. In his early teens, he was homeless. He was displaced. And he was constantly spewed this propaganda. He joined the military, where he became what we would consider a general or whatever. And led an army of people prior to him being the chancellor. But wow, what a crazy concept that he was kind of guided in this direction. And no wonder why Europe as a whole was kind of blind to this concept of what was going on at the time, or at least that's how the history books write it, because all this stuff was going on. Everyone knew about this propaganda. And I'm honestly surprised that he was the only person or at least the head person, to kind of let this play out. So yeah, I'll get into reading this because it gives some interesting perspective. So this goes to say Hitler was revered and loved for a reason. He knew the problem was the Jews and the propaganda smut material that they were ruining. And when he started Germany, he was the best and fastest turnaround economically speaking. Then you add in the fact the Jews were actually the ones who declared war on him. And it shows he wasn't the aggressor outside of not wanting their ideas, filth, and greediness ruining his country. Now, where he went wrong was when he panicked over his medical issues and abused drugs and went extreme in the war. But then add in that there was never more than 6 digits. Let me see. I'm not going to read some of this because it doesn't read very well. Never more than 6 digits on his arm, and that the gas was actually delusing for lice to keep them clean. Not to mention that people forget the Kennedy files that were just released had the actual number of deaths, and it wasn't 7 million. Then you take into account we also did the same thing when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. We encamped them the same way because you want to ensure you know where your enemy is. That's just war. There's so many things showing how the Jews have lied and skewed history in their favor, but we just let it happen because the same thing they did to Germany, they're doing to us now. I'm not saying that every Jew is bad, but the majority want us to suffer. Just as I was saying earlier, that there's good and bad in everything. It goes on to say, I mean, look at their texts and laws. It says they kill us for not being Jewish. Hitler wasn't the monster they made him to be. I'm not saying he was a good guy at the end, but he started out as a savior for Germans and it was working. Then add anyone wanting to stop the Jewish banking system ends up dead. Doesn't make sense. Kennedy, the Titanic, 9/11. I mean, the list goes on, but we have been so infiltrated and brainwashed that now you can't talk bad about them at all or state facts and truths with explanations without being called anti-Semitic and told to look at the lies and skewed truths in history as the example to trust the Jews. Plus, his mother was Jewish. By Jewish standard, Hitler technically was Jewish, and people forget that. Actually, in my research, in his early schooling years, he had a lot of friends that were Jewish. This is just part of the history at the time. This goes on to say, and the Titanic is actually crazy. That's worth a deep dive. J.P. Morgan essentially killed everyone against him, starting the Federal Reserve with the Jews, and in the process, not only made him a self-made millionaire on the insurance fraud to pay back the Lithuania, that was really the one that sunk, and in the process killed everyone that would have stopped the passing of the Federal Reserve. He killed 3 birds with one faked iceberg strike. They conveniently used the identifiers he switched easily from the 2 ships after it sunk to prove it was the Titanic. This wraps up by saying the Jews are the problem, and I have no problem saying that out loud. I'm tired of people walking on eggshells and refusing to say it or to bend to their every will because they're afraid of optic and being called anti-Semitic. Now, let me phrase this by saying I have no stance on any of saying people are bad. I'm not going to put an overlying statement on this. There's good and there's bad, regardless of color, regardless of your belief system. Personally, here at The Broken Truth, and I'm sure you guys agree, we're not taking any sort of crazy stance on this. But at the end of the day, there's an underlying issue here. There's good and evil, and something's fucking wrong.
Amen. Absolutely. And that's, I mean, shout out to the listener for putting the effort into that comment, because there's obviously a lot that goes into that. And there's a lot of things when you dive into Hitler. It's interesting too, because first off, half of the Nazis, Nuremberg, everything else, half of the Nazis came over here and started working for NASA. So that's one big question I always ask is, who was his father? We knew who his mother was, but we don't really know who his father was. There's allegations that he was a Rothschild. He had bloodline ties to the Rothschilds, so there's also connections to that. But and then, like the listener said, he was definitely, you can see him when he's at the one soccer game. My man was a drug addict. He was a meth head. He loved crystal meth. You can see him in the videos. He's cringing. He's sitting there going like this, like a crazy person. But there's a lot of shiesty shit. And then, did he die? Suicide? Oops, sorry. I got to bleep that one. But did he unalive himself, or did he disappear to Argentina? And then there's a lot of alleged German camps and stuff in Argentina. So there's whole communities down there, blonde hair, blue eyed people. So I don't know. Hitler's that's a very
while
deep,
digging into
deep dive.
Oh no, it's wild. And while digging into my research again on this whole documentary, on the conspiratorial aspect of things, you have the concept of the concentration camps and the gas chambers, and there's some first-hand accounts that say the gas chambers weren't even a thing, and that it was a kind of a ploy, more of a fear tactic, and something that was written in the history books that may have not necessarily happened on a grand scale as it was said to be. But then you also have the idea that America was behind a lot of the concentration camp ideas, and that they had a huge tie into what happened during World War II.
See that too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, like, don't they have the translations of Hitler's speeches and stuff? Like, you can listen to his speeches back in the day, and
they're very interesting.
That kind of makes sense.
They kind of make sense, and like your follower said, you know that you say he was talking about. Sorry, I just lost my.
No, but there's
But he talks about how we're fighting what we're fighting here, you know, with LGBTQ and all that. Like, he talks about the same thing, and like in his translations, he essentially says he's fighting for Christianity. You know, and,
you can go on YouTube and watch his speeches translated in English. It's very interesting what he says.
It's interesting you mentioned translations. So I'm a huge fan of Tucker Carlson's work. I'm not sure if you guys watch him now, but he got fired from Fox because of all his propaganda that he's spewing. He's pushing against the grain of the agenda, right? But now he's on every platform doing his own thing, and the people that he's interviewed is absolutely astounding. Great
Nick
work.
Fuentes. Did you see Nick Fuentes? See that one?
Yes.
That was actually a really.
And then he did the huge interview with Putin at the Kremlin. I think he's the first person to be invited to the Kremlin to cover Putin. And when you listen to this, wow,
that was a crazy interview.
I've never had the concept of Putin that I do now, because all you see is what the media portrays of him. He's this fucking monster, and as he explains Russian history and that the whole idea of Europe, it's like, holy crap, what an interesting thing that Russia was supposed to be a part of NATO, and that it didn't happen because America essentially lied, and he wasn't willing to be a part of it. And he almost seems like, and who knows, you know, master manipulators are at the end of the day are all a thing, and he's part of the shadow play at the end of the day. But it's crazy. That's a crazy concept.
That's one of the reasons that he's trying to take over Ukraine. They want to make Ukraine a NATO country, and he doesn't want that. You know, because he knows how rich the Ukraine land is. You know, that's why Trump wanted that mineral deal, right? And you notice we haven't heard about Ukraine or anything in a while. Like, it just magically stopped. Are they no longer bombing each other? Like, you don't hear about it, you know? Yeah. And it kind of goes back to, like, you stopped hearing about Ukraine once you started hearing Trump talk about putting housing in Gaza. It's like the kind of trend. But I've seen that interview, and Putin's totally against the deep state. And he's a scary dude. Like, he was like the biggest, the baddest, the deadliest assassin for Russia.
He wants to go out with, no pun intended, but with a bang. He wants to leave his mark on history. He wants to go out with some type of something. He wants to be a part of history, a big piece of history.
Yeah.
That's how these people
I thought it was super interesting.
Fucked up in the head, man. They're all fucked up in the head.
Yeah, him, Kim Jong-un.
Leadership gets them, power, authority. Think about when you're working at a job when you were younger, and that one person got the promotion to manager, and all of a sudden they changed up. That little bit of authority changed them right up, and they acted totally different, like they were the shit kind of thing.
Power tripping. But what I thought was really interesting about all that is that during the very beginning of the interview, and as he's giving this historical context, Tucker kept trying to lead the interview, right? And he's trying to get him off his historical background, but he's like, no, wait, I'm not done with my story. I'm almost done. But it's really important because he's giving this historical context that is really silenced in American history, and I'm sure global history as we know it. And he's saying, this is why we're at war. And it's like, we're portrayed to be these monsters, but at the end of the day, this is our history. Like, this is so much more deeply rooted than what anyone. And I thought that was interesting because, like, it kind of portrays him to not necessarily be this monster that he's made out to be.
Yeah, it's very interesting when you really start to dive deep into his background a little bit more, and especially like where did he go? Did he take off to Argentina? And then like his right hand man was Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun was running NASA. You know, it's fucking it's crazy. And like Nuremberg, what happened there? None of them guys went to jail. None of that shit. Nuremberg trial. I was like, oh bullshit. Like, it's just so fucked up, that whole thing. Tripoli always says too, he thinks we actually lost the war, and that's how in they took power, and we're going with the flow.
I mean, I believe it. Everyone always writes the grand finale the way they think it is, and to put themselves in the forefront of it. But who knows what really happened at the end of the day, and who knows what's going on. But hopefully, someone can get a grasp on this at some point.
Hopefully, but, like, haven't you found it weird that the moment people started waking up and diving into history, into the world, they stopped teaching it in school?
But they're not teaching about the world wars anymore?
No, they don't teach, like, at least down here, they don't teach anything beyond like 2000. Everything's on a tablet, math on a tablet, but they don't teach any history at all.
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're going and what school you're attending. But at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of stuff that's being taught that is absolutely insane. I mean, you even have all the trans rights, gay rights stuff that's being taught to children in elementary schools.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, what the hell? Like, at a bare minimum, even sex ed wasn't even taught until high school.
I was just going to say, whether it's for straight people or it's not appropriate.
Sophomore,
in
our school district, it was our sophomore year of high school. We took the sex ed class. So I was 15 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
when you actually have an understanding.
We weren't even mature enough for it then, because we were all laughing and giggling and everything else. Still, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
But it's a planned agenda. Like, you know, Baphomet, right? Baphomet is a transgender guy, right? You want to push your agenda, you put it on little kids, young kids, 5 to 8 years old, who are discovering things, life themselves, you know, because their brain, kids are so smart, right? It's not polluted. But now you start polluting it you start polluting them at a young age, because they're attached to a tablet 24/7, and they're watching these crazy, weird videos, and they say, you know, they want to be called them, they. You know, or they want to identify as a dog. I've seen a video where thousands of people dress up as a dog on a leash walking down Chicago. Like,
they call them furries.
Furries,
yeah, there you go.
They got litter boxes in bathrooms and schools.
It's funny you mentioned the I identify as. I recently opened up my merch store and have a bunch of hilarious t-shirts on there, and one of them is I identify as classified, and it's a classified folder with the classified stamp across it.
Nice.
And I was thinking that ties in perfectly to the conspiratorial realm of things, and perfect for our society. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's an awesome one. Yeah, that's dope.
But shoot, let's get away from all this doom and gloom. I had another submission. They dropped an episode from the Confessionals podcast. It talks about there was a party here in Vegas out in the desert, and that there was a portal where there was allegedly vampires on.
Yeah, this is you mentioned this before. I've never heard anything about this, so this is a good one to get in.
Yeah, so I mean, as many people know, Area 51 is in Vegas, and we have a lot of these DUMBs, as it would be called, the deep underground military bases that supposedly have railway ties and underground tunnels that are all around the country. I covered an episode on, oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought now. What was Skinwalker Ranch out in Utah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff and all this extraterrestrial life and vampires, I don't know, that's a stretch. But for it to be an extraterrestrial life, beings that are not of this planet, sure, okay, I'll get with that. For a more general understanding of things, but
Vampires.
Yeah, man. You know what? Out of all the possibilities and everything that could be out there, this and that, why, right? Like, we're talking aliens, Nephilims, you know, stuff like that. So why not? You know, there are secret societies that do drink blood. You whatever it may be, or however they extract it. So maybe there is. I don't know. Why isn't Keanu Reeves ever aged? You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
That's a joke. I mean, I just, he's a weird person to me because he's so quiet and no one ever talks about him. So he goes on my radar. But I mean, he's a cool dude. But he never
We
aged.
always call him a vampire. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I always call. I think half of Hollywood is vampires. All those guys don't age, but it's just.
Well, you ever see who is it? It's like Anne Hathaway and her husband. You look back at the pictures, and he looks like William Shakespeare, and his wife's name was actually Anne Hathaway. So, and they look exactly like that.
That's
so
wild.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows if there is some type of vampire shit? But to be sitting in the desert and you said a portal opened up, and
yeah, they allegedly saw a portal. Which I mean, in the Skinwalker Ranch accounts, there's all sorts of lights and all sorts of interesting things that happen. So the fact that some sort of portal opened up and exposed some sort of extraterrestrial life, especially considering that we do have Area 51 here that covers a massive portion of Nevada land. I mean, that's not too far of a stretch for me to consider that this happened, especially that it is close to an opening where these accounts would be able to be seen.
I wonder if this had any timing to do with like when they opened up, when they fired up CERN, and maybe got some portals opening up when this event happened. I don't know when they said when it happened, but maybe if it had any connections to CERN and get those, what is it, the nuclear collider, the portal, whatever the hell it is.
Let me see if I can get some timeline on this. Let's see. When did the desert party happen here in Nevada that a portal was seen where there were vampires allegedly sawn? It was covered on the Confessionals podcast. What's the timeline for it?
Because curious if it gives us a timeline there, and it does.
So the event you're talking about actually came up on the Confessionals podcast, episode 512, which dropped in October 2025. It covered a desert party in Joshua Tree. So not exactly Nevada, but pretty close. And that's where someone claimed to have seen portals and even vampires. It's got a bit of a wild timeline, but that's the gist.
Well, that didn't give me an answer.
So,
what was the timeline on this? When did it happen?
Absolutely. Let me clarify that for you. So that particular desert party incident, which got a lot of attention on the Confessionals podcast, was said to have happened around mid-September 2025. The episode where they discussed it aired a few weeks later in late October 2025. So the timeline is basically mid-September for the event itself, and then
okay.
So CERN was
recently.
CERN was turned on years ago, but it also is in the national parks. So national park, about the missing 411 national parks, all that. So that could be also some type of connection, because people are said to allegedly go missing, and there's a lot of up here in upstate New York, we're close to, if you ever seen David Paulides' documentary with Tom Messick. I actually went to high school with Tom Messick's grandson, and when they were up there searching, they said they heard a trap door slam. So who could say that could have been like a portal slamming, also a national park? So who knows? Who knows if that's what it was, or was vampires came out and grabbed them, or...
I was going to say, was that anywhere near National Park?
Just said Joshua Tree.
Joshua Tree, yeah.
That's
so
a national park.
National Park. So this all happens in national parks. Yeah,
and then the ties to, what is it, Eisenhower, with the alleged deal with the aliens when he went to get some dental work done, but he had a meeting with the Greys, or the Moon-Eyed people. Did you ever hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. And you even have that whole concept that's protected by the intelligence agencies, that there was a treaty that was signed back in the 50s and 60s when all these abductions were happening, that essentially they're allowed to do as they do, will continue as we do. And the treaty allegedly said that you guys can continue to conduct your experiments on society, right? And as we know it, the aliens or extraterrestrial life lost their ability to reproduce. So they're conducting studies on us to essentially figure out what's wrong with their genes and get that ability back.
Reproduction
but then it also leads us into the idea that, are they trying to reproduce with us? Because when you go back to the dawn of time and you look into the concept of the Nephilim, This is like angelic beings that have that created well, so they reproduced with man. Now we have this hybrid being, a Nephilim human race, right? And if you refer to that as a concept of alien, someone not from here, right? That's what an alien is at the end of the day. That could be the exact same thing. Maybe the aliens are trying to put their seed essentially back on our soil to where it's lesser known to us.
Wasn't it in the Book of Enoch? Was it the Anunnaki who bred with the Nephilim first? Am I misconceived?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. So you have the whole Watchers account, the 200 Watchers that came down, and they directly and against what God said, don't breed with man. And you have these sons of God that bred with the daughters of men and created this hybrid being that's still supposedly lingering within our world today.
Don't bite the apple. They bite the apple.
Yeah. And that's another thing. We even talked about it when I was talking with JT. You have two accounts of why the flood happened. We have our man's betrayal. Well, so the Bible refers to it as sons of God, right? So Adam is a son of God. We are sons of men. We're not from God. So Adam being the son of God, and then Eve, who was made from Adam, directly went against what God said, and they ate from the tree. Then we have another direct creation, the angels, who have these heavenly powers that also went against God's word. So these two major accounts, the second of which being kind of silenced in terms of religious text and doctrine. But that's why the flood happened.
Interesting.
So back to your vampire thing, did we find a timeline in September?
Yeah, September 2025, so very recently.
Okay. September 15th, 2025 to October 1st. CERN ARCs 78 and 81 were at full heat load of 180.
Is that common? Is that it was above average that day from that time?
Look, obviously I'm not a scientist, so there's some of these numbers I just don't understand. But
yeah, but if you look and see if that was over average, if that was a higher number, then they could have been doing something. CERN's an interesting thing, but that national missing 411. I know David Plettis has said dealt with some heat lately over the way he goes about business and such, but it's still an interesting topic with all these disappearances. There's so many of them, and obviously national parks are huge places. People could slip and fall and go disappear in wildlife, whatever the case may be, but still. For this old man up here with the Tom Messick situation in the Adirondacks, he's in his 80s. He's got a hunting rifle with him. He knows the land. They didn't find his candy wrapper, his water bottle, nothing.
He's gone.
His family's 50 yards away from him. I mean, we're at the golf course all the time. We know what 50 yards is, and that's not far. Like, you visually should be able to find somebody, no problem. So, missing 411's always interesting topic for me, and portals is something that I even also believe that portals. Bigfoot travels through portals. That's a belief I have as well. So that's where they move.
Bigfoot.
Man.
That's an interesting concept. So you get into the idea of the giants and Bigfoot being a giant, right? What do you think about that? What's your take? I haven't dug too much into Bigfoot.
I think we just recently had on a couple weeks ago on our podcast Adirondack Bigfoot researcher, our guy John, local guy for us. So he's dove deep into some hunts and stuff like that, investigations. I definitely think Bigfoot is out there, and I think it's also it's something where they can, if they don't know necessarily they live in caves or how it works for them, but I really do believe that they travel through like portals and dimensions. I don't know. I don't think necessarily we're in a simulation, but I think we're also interdimensional in a concept and we could travel in a sense. I don't think we know what we can really do. I think that we can
100%.
Wormholes and all.
I was just gonna say, don't they say we can do it through wormholes? But obviously,
I
don't think you would come out the other end.
And Tesla stuff they were working on. I mean, there's so much shit we just don't know about or have access.
You get into the whole concept that like our mind is limitless. It's just we don't know the powers that it truly holds, and then you get into the whole idea of unlocking your third eye, and the idea that behind meditation, you have, oh gosh, what's it called? Astral projection.
Yes. Yep.
So, I mean, that would be my direct relation to the idea of time travel, honestly, because if and when you do unlock this astral projection concept and you can spiritually come out of your body and travel around and see things, whether it be a dream state of mind or whatever, it's reality at the end of the day because it's what you're experiencing. So that could be part of that.
No, it's crazy too when I hear people talking about astral projection. They when they go to certain places, like say you're going to like astral project and overlook Area 51, there's guards still in that realm that are protecting that site, not letting you get to that one lady, Amy Elizabeth or something like that. She's been on a few podcasts. She talks about it, blonde haired chick. She talks about going to like, I think it was Area 51, and she was stopped by people watching her, so she had to, get out of there because she knew she was being watched and they were coming out at her. So there's also like other interactions inside that realm when you are astral projecting.
Wow.
And you do have a protector. Astral projecting, because we are energy.
You have a protector as well. Yeah. I'll send you the
clip. We are
find the clip
energy. This
Yeah.
This is just a capsule. So when you astral project, I didn't really go anywhere, but DMT was quite fun. I did leave my body. I did station around it. I thought it was 12, 15 hours. It was really like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool to be able to do that all the time. I feel like there are people who can do that all the time. People who do deep meditation here, people when they unlock something when they meditate, what's it called? And they're literally like floating around and they can hear other people's thoughts. Like I was watching a podcast talking about the guy was sitting in a diner and he was in like full meditation mode, and he can hear the person behind him talking to like their mom about their problems. He could hear them even though they weren't saying anything. He could,
it's like taking the Limitless pill. That movie Limitless, where he takes the pill.
Yeah. Honestly,
focus.
I keep going back, Mike, to that night. That night, I had an episode, Garrett. I was microdosing for a while, and then I was taking heavier doses on Friday nights. Well, it got a little heavier, but then I was like getting a little cocky with it and taking handfuls. Got a new strain. Definitely humbled me. Learned a lesson, and I just took a handful of they were like little tiny mushrooms. They were like very dense though. And my go-to, I would always throw them in a grinder every Friday night and make myself a little shake, orange juice. And I drank this down. I didn't weigh it out. Like I said, I just grabbed a handful, threw it in there. Well, I'll tell you what. I was doing them for a year straight. Every Friday night, I never felt this way. When I said my whole body, my body, or my spirit left my body, I was not there anymore, dude. It was absolutely insane.
Garrett, this guy sent me a video of him swinging his golf clubs in his parking lot in his underwear.
So I was gone, dude. I mean, I thought. I think when I was doing that, Roger, I thought I was in heaven. I thought I was dead, and I thought I. They say when you take a lot, you die out, and you feel like you have a spiritual death. It's so hard to explain, but I was like, oh, I wish I could go into it more. I would do it again if I had a shaman or a babysitter watching me, but I highly suggest you keep it at a lower dose, man. It was pretty wild, but you just reminded me that of
get
that,
a golf
Mike.
coach is what you get.
There's definitely energy that can leave your body. There's something else out there, dude, and I found it that night for sure. It was wild. It was pretty crazy. Mushrooms are a trip, man.
Now I'm curious if you guys were to experiment with being able to hone in on that control, and rather than just letting it take its course, you guide its course and see where it can take you.
That's why next time, I would do it if I had somebody kind of
keeping you in line,
and that in between the lines, right? In my lane type deal. Yeah, because then you could really experience. I freaked out a little bit. I wouldn't say it was a bad trip. I was, like I said,
You weren't freaking out. You were enjoying it.
I was enjoying it. Oh God, I was enjoying it.
For sure. You had to though at that point. You got to ride the wave at that point. You know what I mean?
It was pretty wild.
But there's two ways, and there's two ways of doing it. Like we go back to good and evil, right? Like there's a bad way of doing things, and there's a good way of doing it. Mushrooms, DMT, ayahuasca, stuff like that is a very spiritual outer body drug. Like he Garrett mentioned it a couple times throughout. He talks about a realm, that we're in a realm. Like I could fully see that. Like it's like you're playing VR, right? And you're on a whole nother world. And then you take off the VR and then you're in a real world. Like what if this is just one big giant VR?
Yeah. I mean, we know that dimensions are proving, and we're just living within a dimension that we can see, touch, and feel. And then we have ghosts that are in another dimension that some people are more attuned to than others. So
did you ever see the clips where they're gonna put like the thought of putting AI in with like Sims, the game Sims, and giving like this? It's they said that you're basically giving it. You never saw that video, Raj, that I'm talking about?
Well, they kind of do it now, and Alexa sits in your house, kind of same thing.
Yeah,
AI's been in your house for a while. Alexa's been there for a while. But I think, AI is crazy. That's so bad.
I hate it. And I love real and what's not.
I hate it.
Yeah, just like anything else, it has a lot of good and it has a lot of evil, depending on whose hands it's in.
Everything, the yin and the yang, has above, so below.
Like, what if the concept was that we are a prison? If we're going like realms, right? Like say we're
like a prison planet.
Like where other species come here, reptilians, Nephilims, aliens, and they're all in here as a prison planet. That's why it's so negative. There's so much hate. There's so much war. I mean, if you're going into the realm aspect, I could totally see that, because then you see portals, right? Or people just getting dropped off and they're closing it behind them. And like, you got to deal with it. Like, what's that movie where they secluded kids and what they thought was like an island? Remember, they came up through the ground. Children came up through the ground, and they thought they were on an island. It was just them there, and they built a
beach. No, the beach. No, not the beach.
What the heck's it called?
They didn't come up through no ground.
But they gave them like so much food They gave them so much food, this and that, and they thought it was just them survived, but they were actually imprisoned. And and like these little animals, these like robotic animals would come out. Man, what's the name of that?
I don't watch movies, man. I'm so terrible with movies. I've never even seen Star Wars.
Yeah, I've only seen a handful of things too, honestly.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies. These guys always ask, and I'm like, I got no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Shoot, while you're looking that up, to lead into our last topic, someone submitted the idea of the Kandar giant. I'm honestly not too familiar with this, so I'll research it and have it give us a little description on it. Give me some backstory and history. Explain the concept behind the Kandar giant.
Of course. The Kandahar giant is kind of a modern legend that's popped up in a lot of military and conspiracy circles. Basically, it's a story that started circulating from around the early 2000s. The tale goes that a group of U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan encountered this enormous humanoid creature in a cave somewhere near Kandahar. And we're talking giant in the literal sense, like a 12 to 15 foot tall, red-haired humanoid being. The backstory is that this giant supposedly attacked the soldiers, and after a pretty intense fight, they took it down. The tale gets more elaborate with claims that the military whisked the body away and that it was covered up. It ties into a bunch of folklore themes, Johnny into ancient times, biblical references like the Nephilim, and just the whole idea that there's still these hidden, mysterious creatures out there. So it's become kind of a modern myth that blends military lore with these older giant legends.
That answers the question perfectly and gives a lot of context into 9/11 and why it happened. So there's a theory that 9/11 happened because we needed a reason to go into the Middle East to fight.
Gilgamesh.
Well, not fight, but yes, Gilgamesh. We have the tomb, or the tomb, or the throne, or whatever. So yes, absolutely. If we were in Middle East and trying to recover artifacts that were around this, then yeah, you're gonna uncover some beings, some giants, and absolutely, I believe that could have happened. A fight with this Kandar giant.
Probably protecting the tomb of Gilgamesh. This was in August of 2016. Man. Yeah, dude, that was the whole Hillary Clinton was the one who was after the Gilgamesh. You know?
Yeah, and trying to protect all of this. And I mean, and this is uncovered in the early 2000s that it was saying that this legend came to be. So yeah, I mean, if they did come across this Kandahar giant, that's a Nephilim.
Oh yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
100% Nephilim. It was a legendary 13-foot tall, enormous creature who dwelt in the Afghan highlands and was destroyed by U.S. special troops. The authorities later covered up the death of the red-haired giant with six-fingered hands.
Ginger. Andy was
six-fingered hands.
Creepy.
Wouldn't it be great to actually like speak this one of the guys on that mission? Like, what? Obviously, they can't talk about it, but what did you see? Like, let that be like my uncle who was out on an operation or something like that, and like the guy you're sitting down at the end of the bar and like, yeah, I was on that op. There was this giant red hair though. I've also heard Bigfoot sightings of red hair too. So to say not a correlate, 13 feet. That's huge though. That's huge.
But I mean, that's what they would have been, the giants, the Nephilim. So I definitely think that they came into contact with someone who was protecting whatever these artifacts are, and they obviously we have the power to find the stuff out. But yeah, that gives a lot of context.
It said it appeared out of nowhere from a cave, killing one soldier with its spear. So now these things got weapons now. So 13-foot red-haired monster running at you with a spear. Yeah, that's how you start your Tuesday morning.
Yeah, as you're casually exploring the desert.
Yeah, go grab your Starbucks and your little pastry and walk out to that. Man.
No, thank you.
Oh, here we go. NDAs, non-disclosure agreements were required of the soldiers. The troops, on the other hand, had broke their silence because they believed that the truth should be revealed and the public had the right to. U.S. government denies the claims. When asked about the Kandahar giant in 2016, the Department of Defense said, "We do not have any record or information about a special forces member being killed by a giant in Kandahar." Left it at
I call bullshit. And actually, 100%. Now that you say that it would be awesome to talk to someone who was on this mission, I'm going to dive into that and see if I can potentially find someone to interview, because you have Sean Ryan, who's interviewed a ton of intelligence agency people, as well as Tucker Carlson, and they're all coming out to expose this stuff, whether it be a distraction that's planned by the intelligence agencies or not. I'm sure someone's willing to talk about it.
Yeah, I love Sarah. Sarah Adams is badass.
Yeah, she was really good, but I think she's a plant. I think I kind of have a feeling Sean Ryan's a little bit of a plant.
You think?
I question him, and now I'm starting to question if you see.
You can't think Sean Ryan's a plant if you don't think Joe Rogan's.
I don't know. Joe Rogan had a little bit more of a raw upbringing kind of thing, where all of a sudden Sean Ryan was right at the top.
He came out of nowhere.
Joe Rogan
was
doing podcasts in his garage with Red Band. So, I don't know. And he worked.
But as you're coming up, right? And this can happen to either of us as creators, right? We talk about what we know, what we've uncovered, what we want to share, right? But then as we get larger and larger and more people start to see our stuff, that's when you start getting reached out to by other people. So whether it be something that you're conscious of in terms of plants, or not, you could be misguided to start portraying information that, again, you're not necessarily aware of. So, like, whether you guys interview someone or I end up interviewing someone that shares some information, it could be intentional, like you're saying, in regard to the plants. So, like Joe Rogan, he could be. I don't know if he's directly tied and intentionally spreading misinformation, but there's definitely someone pulling strings for sure.
Oh yeah, because think about how much. I'm not saying
and that's with everybody.
Yeah, I'm not saying doesn't have some kind of influence at all. Like Mike Baker's on his podcast probably more than anybody else, a CIA, former CIA agent. So, like, he's got connections to intelligence, no doubt about it. Why wouldn't you though? At someone at that level of influence and everything else, like, you take that, and you kind of not only use it to your advantage, but you get your protection and any information that someone sees. I remember him mentioning not too long ago someone had a hit on him, and not to go to a particular UFC event or something like that. So
for sure.
Liver King. You remember that?
It was the Liver King.
Yeah.
Oh God, fucking Liver King. Now
I listen to plants. I think everybody should listen because they
Yeah.
do give you some truth too. At the end of the day,
See the information that they're spewing out. Yeah.
Everything's coded.
It's just like Hollywood, same thing.
Yeah, everything's coded.
Yeah.
Yep.
Watch Fox and
Hollywood
CNN.
from the Hollywood tree.
So, Garrett, with you being in Vegas, I got to ask you something. How deep did you dive into the Vegas?
Oh my gosh. So I'll talk to you guys more off air about this. I don't want to talk too much about it live. And I'll explain why off air. But there's a lot of shit behind
I like that.
I don't know if I'm gonna cover it or actually, maybe I'll reach out to you guys more about it. But so the podcast as a whole, I'm about to wrap up season 1. Season 2 is going to be all ancient history and mystery, and then season 3 is going to be shootings and war. They say that war is planned from the dawn of time. That all these wars have a date, a time, exactly what's going to happen, and it's just when it happens, right? But same thing with mass shootings. So this is a topic that I don't necessarily want to cover, and again, I'll explain why. But as I dig more into it, I'm actually interested in having a different creator cover it that I'll post. So if you guys are interested in covering that topic, I mean, you're more than welcome to do it, and I'll post it. But again, I'll talk to you more why, as I won't cover it. But this has been a great episode, guys. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
This is absolutely fun.
We're running into a hell of a lot longer than I normally cover episodes, but I appreciate your guys' time. Where can our audience find you, Conspiracy Chaos?
You can find us. We drop episodes every Wednesday. Usually running with guests. If not, it's usually the three of us just chopping it up with a little recap of just current kind of what's going on, or talking about some of the things we missed in previous episodes with guests and that kind of thing, and giving our input. But we've been going about 8 months now, so we're just getting off the ground. And you can find us at Conspiracy Chaos on Instagram. Everywhere you can find podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, you name it, you can find us there. But this was awesome, man. This was our first guest appearance. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, had a blast.
We were really looking forward to it. We would love to have you on a Conspiracy Chaos at some point as well.
Yeah, of course.
And do something similar to this here. So awesome, man. We like I said, truly appreciate you having us on. It's a great time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Maybe we can do a part 2 on our channel.
Yeah, we'll definitely do some more stuff. This has been a great conversation and has been awesome. But for those of you listeners out here, remember, the truth is not whole, it's broken.
In a world built on hidden histories and half-truths, we've only just begun to peel back the layers. Because what you've heard tonight was never meant to be known. But you were meant to find it. If you're ready to go deeper, leave us a review, comment your thoughts, share this episode, and step inside the archives. Join the inner circle, where the real evidence is kept. This is the broken truth, because the truth isn't whole, it's broken.